Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Seattle Indies Expo. We're here talking about all games Seattle-based, and we are joined today by some of the devs from this wonderful game, Timewreck Tales. We have Adam Pickersgill. Am I saying that right? Pickersgill?
Yeah, you got it.
Perfect. Awesome. And Gio Lanskov. Again, am I saying that right?
Nope, it's Jeff Lanskov, but Gio Lanskov is great.
Jeff.
That's hilarious.
Hi, my name is Goobers, and I'm also known as Ron Burgundy. If you put it on the screen, I'm gonna read it. Jeff Lanskov. All right, Jeff. Okay, got it. And I am Ron Burgundy. Now, we're here to talk about this game and talk to you guys more about this game. But before we dig into that, I want everybody to have one final refresher. Let's give a little bit of a description. Adam, if you could tell us about this game. What is it at the high level?
Yeah, I actually let Jeff cover this one for me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, for sure. So Timewreck Tales is a story-rich roguelite RPG. So we wanted to bring that traditional, PC console feel of game on your phone. So, no time gates, lots of quality, lots of content, all handcrafted, and just really make it so you, even if you're on your phone, you still get that really nice, fun experience, but still built from the ground up for phone. So nice touch controls, works well in small form factors, and works great whether you're playing 5 minutes or 5 hours. That's our little pitch.
Fantastic. That's a fantastic pitch. Okay, well, with that being said, we are going to, in addition to that refresher, we're going to replay the trailer again so you guys can check and see what this is all about before we get real deep into it. Let's take a look. Awesome. Okay, well, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I remember looking at this at first and really wanting to know what exactly, how the game worked and stuff. So we're gonna get into all of that, but I do actually want to, because I'm not the only host here, Mac, I want you to just go ahead and lead us off here if you got any questions to kind of dig into this wonderful game.
Questions. It just looks so exciting. I remember when we were watching the trailer the first time, I was just like, what is happening? This looks so good. And so, yeah, I just want to know what's your inspiration behind the game, and how does the gameplay work? Let us know all the things.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a turn-based RPG that is obviously inspired by like really old retro JRPGs, but it's also meant to be a really like little bite-sized roguelike. So we've kind of dialed down the big exploration that those older JRPGs have, and so we kind of have just these little bite-sized encounters. So here's one that's playing right now. And they last like 2 to 5 minutes. You get a little dose of story, maybe some skill checks, some dialogue choices, and a combat or two if you're lucky or unlucky, depending on how you feel about that.
Yeah, so we were actually wondering, the skill checks in there, are those based on any sort of does your character come with a defined set of attributes, and the skill checks are checked against that, or is it more random?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. It's a little bit of both. It's sorry, go ahead, Adam.
Well, I get excited about the skills because each character has a unique set. There's 3 categories. There's like a mind, body, and social skill that each character has. And so those are the 3 different types of challenges that you might face. But each character has kind of the unique set of those skills that are supposed to give them a little bit more personality. Like Merlaut, our little charming wizard character, he's got a charm social skill, and he's got a science mental skill, and his body skill is poise. But no other characters have any of those skills. They all have their own unique sets. So it kind of creates this opportunity to pick who you want to play as and how you want to navigate through the world.
Do you have a favorite character or skill that you're just like really excited about?
Well, Jeff, what's your favorite? You go first.
I honestly couldn't tell you. I think elocution, which is one of Jackson's skills, who's our kind of mer person. So the reason I like that skill is because I did not know what that word meant before finding out, and so I had to go down this dictionary rabbit hole.
I'm totally not googling it right now.
Yep.
What
But it is
was
a
the word
social
again?
skill. Elocution.
Elocution. Yep. No, don't know that word.
Oh,
We've got a few
Mac, we probably should, because it means the clear and the skill of clear and expressive speech, especially of distinct pronunciation and articulation. You know, the skill that like hosts should have. So that's completely relevant.
I know
Okay,
that
cool.
word.
So
What?
continue, please, Jeff.
Yeah, and so it was neat seeing. So I do more the technical side and do a lot of the like systems design and more intense gameplay stuff. So for me, it was really fun just seeing the skill checks appear and being like, oh, I guess that's how you could use elocution. Oh, that's really neat. And exactly like I said, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, great.
This is actually an educational game. We're trying to teach people.
I done got
Adam,
learned today, so I think that's the thing.
What about you, Adam? What's your favorite skill and character?
So I really like Ruby. She's like a little small goblin who has elemental magic abilities, and her skills are that she's both nimble and relatable, but also kind of like secretly an engineer. She's got some artificing abilities. So she's my favorite character, and her skills kind of show up in very interesting ways in the game.
Very
So
cool.
with that, I'm out of curiosity. One of the things that I like to ask devs is, in the story of your guys' development with this game, most times there are usually interesting stories about one particular thing or a group of things that during the development of the game proved to either be an absolute pain to overcome, which you ended up doing, or you realized like some hidden aspect of the game that came out of the struggles of development. Do you guys have any that kind of relate with that? And this
Adam,
is a
you got
question
any
for
on
either
this
of
one?
you.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this, but I'm trying to like collect them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we did a lot of playtesting early on, and that was kind of where we found the fun. The game has gone through a couple of different iterations. Fun fact, it was originally conceived as an idle game, which is not at all anymore. But our old code base says idle RPG as a working title, which is still hilarious to me. But I would say that probably the basics of combat kind of came from that, in that it was originally kind of this automated turn-based thing, and then we were like, oh no, we should just slow this down and let people make more careful decisions and turn this more into a turn-based RPG. Does that track with you, Jeff?
Oh yeah, we had so many moments like this where it was just like, well, we should just do this because it's more fun, and this is the game we actually want to make. And so that was kind of like the classic development experience. There was like, originally it was much more open-ended, where you could go to different places in different orders and you had to manage your time. And then we tried this kind of on rails, slightly more on rails, but still like heavily branching experience. And we're like, this is it, because now you're only choosing the things that you can understand and actually care about. Versus before, it's kind of like, oh, do whatever, you can be anywhere.
Wonderful. Really quickly, sorry, and then I'll hand it back to you, Mac. I just wanted to let everybody in chat know, if you have questions, please drop them in chat. We can see chat. I'm reading chat right now. Hello. If you have any questions for the devs, please drop them in chat. We'll try to get to most, if not all of them, while we do this. So with that, Mac, go ahead. Whatever you go with.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So, how long did you spend working to make this game? You said it went through a couple different iterations. So what was it like when you first started? How many iterations did it go through until we got to this product, and how long was that process?
So the studio has been around for about 2 years now, although Jeff had been working on this project before then, kind of in fits and starts. And so I would say, yeah, we were an idle game for a tiny bit. It was really once we had our first playtest around combat, which happened, I think, like only like 4 or 5 months into development. It wasn't too far along the line that we kind of just switched to, okay, this is much more of a story-rich RPG that we're trying to make. Let's flesh out the story a bit more, make sure that we have a structure that we care about. But I would say it took another 6 months at least before we got to the version that we have today in terms of its basic structure of, oh, you've got 3 encounters per day, and you've got 3 days per chapter, and there's 3 chapters per run. Notice the pattern there? But,
right.
Yeah.
Now, I do actually have some questions from chat here. This one from Studio at my Rob. It said, did the devs have any issue with combat balance?
The answer is yes. Yes, we did. Yes, we do. Yes, we will.
Like that's still going on.
It's a constant struggle. It's one of the, it's a really fun thing to do because you get to really like tweak all the knobs and stuff, but it takes a whole lot of time to make sure everything's balanced.
Absolutely.
We also wanted to balance like speed of combat. We want the combats to take no more than like a minute or 2, and so that was kind of another design constraint that made it, or is making it trickier to balance things. But
what do you balance? Do you balance around like how much health you should lose in combat, how quickly you can kill enemies? How do you balance the different play styles?
Ooh.
It's an adventure.
I've never thought about that. That's
because you still want it to be fun for the player, but you don't want it to be so easy that it's boring to play and you're like, I can do this, like I don't feel challenged, right? But you still want it to be fun. That would be a hard balance. A question that I was curious. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Nope, by all means, go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say, I guess this can go for Jeff. A question I was curious about is, how did you come up with the art style direction as you were making the game? How did you know you wanted it to be pixel?
So, keeping in mind that first this is conceived as a much smaller project in scope. So it's pixel art because pixel art was something I had a little bit of experience in and could actually do temporarily on my own.
Sure.
And then it grew from there. But one of the big things that inspired us was we really like that classic game feel, and so we wanted to feel like we could be very inspired by those older games. And so we don't limit ourselves. Like you can see on the screen right now, we've got we've got real-time lighting with shadows. I mean, it's still 2D and everything, but it's like we are not restricting ourselves, but we still really wanted to get that old school feel.
Yeah.
And then our artist, Christina, shout out to her. I think she's watching the stream. Has done a fantastic job of just taking that style and absolutely running with it. And our style's changed so much and improved so much, and she's done such a fantastic job.
That's always something really interesting to see, is the evolution of, as a game goes on, the evolution of not only how the game grows, but also the quality, because games take a really long time to make, and with that, the skills of the developers and the artists and stuff change over the course of the time and improve and grow. So that's super cool to see that. We have a question from Samosa Jones. Said, can they tell us more about the story without giving spoilers?
Yeah, so I'm gonna out Samosa Jones as one of our writers, so that's a plant question there. But
You can't
But
do
thank you.
that.
thank you,
can't
Samosa
do
Jones.
that.
So the Timewreck Tales is the story of a group of heroes that rise up to meet the challenge of working as independent time specialists in the interdimensional gig economy. So what happened was there was a calamitous attempt by one of the gods to bring unity to the realms, which caused the time wreck. And luckily, the god of time, Kronos, came in and said, well, don't worry, I can fix this. Let me just create this gig economy and hire a bunch of people to go collect time crystals for me, and I can use those time crystals to heal the realms. Why it takes so many iterations and having to go back in time and doing it again and again, well, you're just gonna have to play the game to find out exactly. So
Well said.
I like that
Well
you
said.
named the
Well
god of time Kronos, because isn't that an ode to like a time clocking service that corporate America uses? Isn't it called Kronos?
Is that also?
Yeah,
Well,
I
Kronos
think
is originally a Greek titan. So then, but then that's also that's multi-leveled. Well done. Well
That
done.
is,
That
and
is
I love
really
it.
good.
So we try to be multi-leveled when we're elo queuing.
Especially when you're collecting time crystals.
That's right.
We have another question from Anarion. What are the roguelike aspects of the game?
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so we designed this game from the ground up to be extremely replayable. So we have a ton of branching content. And so any given playthrough, you're seeing, far less than half of what the game has to offer.
Wow.
For example,
That's great.
the thing you're seeing right now, this time this is an area called the Highland Seas. And right now we happen to be in the Highlands part of it, but it's called the Highland Seas because suddenly, due to the time wreck, the seas have risen in the Highlands. And so you can spend most of this either overland or underwater. In this case, we're kind of overland. But so lots of branching content. Every time, we've got a skill check opportunity as a branch. You got lots of choices. You got choices on where to go. And then the other elements come in and how you build your team. So you can build your team totally differently each time. You can have different perks on how you level up. You also have access to different equipment, as we can see on the screen right now. And then the reason you might want to come back is because obviously you get more access to story, but also we will have a mechanic where the game can get harder and you can go through different runs and make it kind of more difficult each time, if you so choose to play that way.
Sure.
We also have a little casual mode you can turn on at any time because we know some people, they just were here for the story and they want to have like a little fun, relaxed time. And so we have that option of just turn off, every time you lose combat, you get a little bit stronger instead of losing your run, and that's fun for players too. So lots of
casual mode.
Elements.
I only play in casual mode, so.
Can I ask what the suspicious can was?
Oh, it's one of the many pieces of equipment that you can find on your journey, and you gotta just play to find out why it's suspicious. Can't give that one away.
There's nothing trademarked in our game, so it's just a suspicious can. Could be anything.
Perfect.
Way to find out.
All right, so the next one is from BP Ragathi. Am I saying that, or B Pragathi? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Tell us about the worm and the trash monster characters.
So Alchemist Joker actually called this out in the hype trailer during the hype hour. Yes, you do encounter trash mobs that call themselves the trash mob. Eventually, at the end of this gameplay video, you'll see the heroes face off against the Trash King, who leads the trash mob. So they're just a group of monsters that like to sow chaos and cause problems whenever it is narratively convenient for them to be doing so.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
So I got a question here from Pickles Grill. Is that you, or is that?
It's not me.
It's
That's
not you.
probably one of my family members. I don't know. I don't.
Someone
Oh,
making fun of you.
alright. I was like, you can't just ask while you're on the show. Use your voice. But
Yeah, I
no,
magically
they
was
have a very, very serious question here. What's the currency conversion rate between Bitcoin and time crystals?
Oh, you see, well, it actually changes every like microsecond, so it's extremely volatile. I think last I checked, it was 20,000 time crystals per Bitcoin, but tomorrow it'll probably only be 3 time crystals per Bitcoin.
It's a real
It's
dangerous.
the way
Yeah,
this
That's
works.
makes
basically
sense.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
Could
it
be really
really
good.
is,
Could
yeah.
really. You just don't know. You just don't.
Yeah.
And don't worry, we've got time NFTs coming.
But whenever Kronos tweets about it,
Perfect. Perfect.
and the value spikes whenever
okay.
Kronos tweaks about it too, So
So, can you tell us where we can find this game? What platforms? Is it out already? When does it come out? All the fun stuff about it.
Sure. So we're coming out in early 2022, and right now we're planning on launching on iOS and Android. And if we are successful and lots of people play our game, we'd love to, also release on Switch and Steam and other platforms that we can. So you can, I think the best place to get additional updates on this is to follow our Discord, which there should be a link in chat somewhere. Or you can head to our website, and there's a bunch of, you can follow us on Twitter, and you can also pre-register to download on iOS if you have an iOS device.
Cool.
Wonderful. So I've got a question from the guy running this show in the background, the producer. He says, as a dad-like, how easy is this roguelike to pick up and play in brief sessions?
Glad you asked, because it was designed to be extremely easy to do that. Every encounter is short and self-contained, and so when you can play 1, 3, 9, 20 encounters depending on how much time you have on your hands. And
How
only
long
take you
is
2
the
to 5
average of
minutes
like
each.
one run?
About an hour once you've become more experienced with the game.
Solid.
Sure.
Solid. Keep
Yeah,
those
so the
questions
idea is-
coming, by the
a
way,
lot
in
of
the chat, guys.
roguelikes
We're
could
reading
be
them.
2 or 3 hour runs. So
That's right. Yeah,
that's
and we recognize that roguelikes kind of ask a lot of players, certain roguelikes, and so we really wanted to make one that was a bit more accessible, while still, having those awesome experiences that we all know and love from roguelikes. So that was one of the big design ideas behind our game.
sure.
Wonderful. And I am, Mac, if you have another question here, I'm just checking through chat and making sure that I've got all of my questions and stuff. But if you've got one lined up, I'd say go for it.
So, driver Ben asks, for the sake of using for the users on mobile, does this require a Wi-Fi connection, or could you like airplane mode it if you wanted to?
Part of this game was conceived while on an airplane, being like, wow, why don't I have more really fun games I can play on my phone that don't like require always on internet, etc. So absolutely you can play offline. That's one of our core priorities. It's also going to be free, so play it. We won't be gating any content, so on launch, if you're playing for free, you'll have access to the full game. We're not going to lock anything off. So yeah, our goal is to make it so it's accessible to everyone, no matter where you are, no matter how good your internet is.
So I have I have a question.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead,
please, you go ahead. Oh,
Okay.
I was gonna say.
I just had a quick question. Sorry, Mac, it's all you.
Oh yeah, if we're on a little bit of a delay. So when I hear free mobile game, I instantly think like, okay, but how are the devs getting money? If I want to support the devs, are there in-game purchases that you can purchase for abilities or money or weapons, anything like that, so that you guys are getting something, or are you going to have a lot of ads in your game? I don't know if you know that information right off the top of your head, though.
So we haven't finalized everything with respect to that, but one idea that we've been batting around is so a lot of mobile games will have ads, and then they'll let you pay once to remove those ads. And we've considered doing something similar with, except that our ads would be ads that we make for our own game. So kind of just like a little like reminder of like, hey, if you're enjoying this game, would you like to actually just pay for it? And
Sure.
that way you're not actually hit with all these mobile ads that are like, hey, go play this other game because we see you like this game. And we certainly made sure to design our game such that it didn't have any of those like time gating. I mean, Jeff mentioned this earlier, but time
Right.
gating mechanics that encourage you to cough up premium currency in order to make it work. So
Wonderful.
So to
You go ahead, Jeff.
yeah, so to jump onto that, to add on to that, I should say, we will have ways to pay money. We will make sure that they are, they really feel like you're supporting us in the studio and that you get
that's right.
good value. But at the end of the day, we really
Yeah.
want our free experience to still be a good one.
I love that.
Fantastic. All right, well, I've only got one final question for you, and then we gotta head out of here, unfortunately. And I'll ask both of you guys, Adam, and apparently your new nickname is Geo. I'm so sorry. How long did it take before you started dreaming in pixel art?
Oh man, not long. Not as long as you'd think.
I've spent the last few weeks adding normal maps and a bunch of other stuff to our pixel art. So I'm not only dreaming in pixel art, but I'm dreaming in like 5x5 little chunks of pixel art, which is absolutely the worst. It's not the most interesting.
Your dream resolution is just, it needs an upgrade, huh? Oh, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out here and telling us about your game. Whoever wants to, please tell everybody here where they can find it, where they can get it, all the information. It's Plug City. Tell them all about it. And you guys, as your dev team as well, tell them about all that places and where to go.
Yes.
All right. Well, as mentioned, you can follow our Discord. There should be a link in chat. Go to our website. We've got all of our social links there. And if you have an iOS device and you want to pre-register, there's a link to that too. So we'd love all of it.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, we have to get moving on here. I want to remind everybody to make sure to go check out the 2 campaigns that are going on. One is on Steam right now, and that is the link in